All right, so we're diving into Robert Greene's mastery today. And my notes say you're looking for the path to mastery, but you're also a busy person, right?
Yeah.
No time for all the stuff.
You want the cheat codes, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Greene delivers. Like his core idea is that mastery isn't, some mystical genius thing. It's a journey with distinct phases, and he uses all these historical figures to break it down.
And we'll sprinkle in some modern examples, too, just to keep things interesting.
Love it.
Yeah. So the first phase is what he calls this ideal apprenticeship. And it's not about just, getting a job or making a ton of money.
Right.
It's about transforming your mind. Your mind has to be ready for mastery.
Okay.
Greene actually compares it to, how humans have this extended childhood. We're wired for this really deep learning, but we gotta apply that to a specific field.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this is different from just like being an intern or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But some of Greene's advice here is pretty wild. He says to actually seek out challenges, not comfort, but challenges.
Because challenges give you objective feedback, even if it's, a little tough to hear sometimes.
Right.
Think about it. If you're always surrounded by yes people, how do you really know if you're improving?
Ouch. Good point, though. And get this, he says value trumps money in this phase.
Absolutely.
Learning is the ultimate return on investment.
100%.
He uses Leonardo da Vinci as an example.
Yeah, Da Vinci, yeah. He rejected this really prestigious gig in Rome, hated being dependent on patrons, and chose tough engineering projects over these easy art commissions.
Interesting. So it wasn't just about the prestige or the money. It was about the challenge, the learning.
Which, in the long run, made him a much better, well-rounded artist and thinker.
Makes sense.
Another great example is Zora Neale Hurston. She worked as a maid.
Wow.
But specifically to get access to books.
Really?
Yeah, to fuel her writing ambition.
Talk about long-term vision.
Right.
So challenge yourself. Prioritize learning over money.
Yep.
But what are the actual steps within this ideal apprenticeship? There's got to be a system here, right?
There is. Greene outlines 3 key steps. First is deep observation, what he calls the passive mode.
Okay.
And this isn't just, looking around. It's absorbing the unspoken rules of your field.
Like the culture, the things nobody tells you directly, but everybody just knows.
Exactly. It's like an anthropologist studying a new tribe, figuring out all their customs and rituals.
Right.
Greene uses Charles Darwin as an example here. When Darwin set sail on the Beagle, he didn't just jump into, science right away. He spent months observing life on the ship, the social hierarchy, all of it.
Interesting.
And this maximized his learning later on when he actually got to, the Galapagos and all that.
So he was laying the groundwork by understanding the context he was operating in.
Exactly.
Clever. What about Benjamin Franklin? Greene uses him a lot.
Franklin was a master observer, even of his enemies.
Oh.
Studied their motivations, their weaknesses, their habits. Used it all strategically.
Wow.
Yeah, that level of social intelligence is crucial in this phase.
So deep observation is step 1. What's next?
Step 2 is skill acquisition. Here's where the practice mode kicks in. But we're not talking raw talent. We're talking deliberate practice.
The kind that rewires your brain, right?
Yeah.
I've read about that in peak performance research and things like that.
Exactly. Neuroscience shows us how this kind of practice literally changes the structure of our brains. It frees up mental space for higher level thinking later on.
I can see why that'd be valuable for a genius, too.
Oh, absolutely.
The more efficient your brain is, the more you can accomplish.
Right. And it's not just about quantity, it's about quality. Mozart is a great example. His intense childhood practice, it was fueled by this genuine love for music. It shows how important that emotional connection to the work is.
But passion alone isn't enough, is it?
Yeah.
Greene contrasts Mozart with the poets, Keats and Coltrane, who had very different approaches to practice.
Very different.
Yep.
Keats was intensely focused, laser focused,
Right on.
while Coltrane's practice was more scattered.
Hmm.
And this had huge effects on their outcomes. It highlights the importance of that focus and intention. It's not just mindlessly repeating the same thing over and over.
Right.
It has to be deliberate.
So we've got deep observation, deliberate practice. What's the third step?
The third, and this is arguably the most crucial, is social intelligence.
Okay.
Greene says we often carry this naive perspective from childhood,
Oh, I know that.
where we project our own needs onto others, misread their intention.
Yeah. Assuming everyone's as straightforward as I am.
Right.
Yeah.
And it creates so much unnecessary drama, it hinders progress.
It really
But
does.
this isn't about being emotionless.
Right.
Franklin, for example, used his emotional intelligence. He connected with people really deeply, even manipulated them sometimes.
For good or for ill.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so what are the key aspects of this social intelligence to master then? I'm assuming knowing who to manipulate's not on the list.
No, no, definitely not.
Okay, good.
It's more about recognizing power dynamics
Right.
and how to adapt to those. Greene also talks about spotting the rigid types, the people who just resist change.
Oh yeah, I know a few rigid types.
You got to learn to navigate those interactions.
Right.
And then there's the lazy and the passive aggressive.
Those are fun.
Right. Greene gives some advice on dealing with those too. He uses some really powerful examples here. Ignaz Semmelweis, the doctor who discovered hand washing could prevent infections.
No. Yeah.
Tragically, he failed to grasp those social dynamics,
Really.
and it led to his discovery being completely rejected.
Wow, what a cautionary tale. So even a brilliant mind needs that social intelligence to make a real impact.
Absolutely. On the other hand, we have the artist Teresita Fernandez.
Okay.
She actually crafted her persona strategically to counteract biases against female artists.
She adapted to the social landscape and used it to her advantage.
Very smart.
Very smart.
Yeah, so it just shows how vital social intelligence is. You need to work within the system even while you're pushing the boundaries.
Okay, so this ideal apprenticeship, it really transforms your mind. Deep observation, skill acquisition, and social intelligence.
That's the foundation.
It's not about climbing the ladder.
No.
It's about preparing for something much bigger. What happens after the apprenticeship then?
That's where things get really interesting. The second phase is what Greene calls the creative active. It's where all that knowledge and those skills you've acquired start transforming into something unique. This is where the dimensional mind emerges.
The dimensional mind. That sounds intense. Tell me more.
It's about holding on to that childlike curiosity while you're also wielding all this knowledge and skills. Imagine merging your instinct and your intellect, seeing connections other people just miss.
That's a potent combination, especially
Yeah.
for someone who's already really intellectually gifted. It's like giving a race car a turbo boost. But I imagine this phase comes with its own set of challenges too.
You're absolutely right. The challenge lies in balancing this inner spirit with that external pressure to conform. Many masters struggled with this. You feel the pull to fit in, but also this need to express your unique vision.
So how do we cultivate this dimensional mind then? How do we find that balance?
Greene outlines 5 strategies for developing this mental flexibility. The first one is cultivating what he calls negative capability.
Negative capability. Isn't capability supposed to be positive?
I know, right?
Okay.
It's basically the ability to hold multiple possibilities in your mind without judging them prematurely.
Okay.
Embrace uncertainty. Stay open to new information.
It's like giving your creativity space to breathe,
Yeah.
not forcing it into a box.
Exactly. And Greene connects this back to Michael Faraday's humility towards knowledge.
Right.
Faraday understood that scientific knowledge is always evolving. Our understanding has to evolve too. He never assumed he had all the answers. And that openness led to some incredible breakthroughs.
That makes a lot of sense. So we're cultivating negative capability. What's the second strategy for developing mental flexibility?
Allowing for serendipity?
You mean just getting lucky?
Not quite. Serendipity is more about preparing your mind for those unexpected insights.
Okay.
It's not just random chance. You're creating the conditions for those aha moments.
I'm intrigued. How do we set the stage for serendipity?
Well, first, we got to recognize that our brains can get overly focused. We start missing valuable connections. We get stuck in routines and we filter out, potentially groundbreaking ideas.
So it's about breaking free from those mental ruts.
Exactly.
I could see how that would be especially important for a genius, someone who's used to their thought processes working in a specific way.
It's about challenging those ingrained patterns. Think about Louis Pasteur. His discovery of inoculation, it wasn't pure luck.
Right.
Years of research had primed his mind to recognize the significance of that accidental observation.
His mind was ready to make that connection.
I see. Didn't he also talk about Anthony Burgess and Max Ernst?
Yes. They used creative constraints
Okay.
to force those novel associations.
Interesting.
Limitations, surprisingly, can spark creativity. It's like giving your mind a puzzle to solve.
Okay, so we're cultivating negative capability, allowing for serendipity. That's the third strategy.
The third one's a bit more tangible. Alternating the mind through what Greene calls the current.
The current. Lay it on me.
It's like a mental rhythm.
Okay.
He uses Charles Darwin's method as an example,
Yep.
switching between intense focus and deliberate mental breaks.
I've heard about that. It's like letting your subconscious work on a problem while your conscious mind takes a break.
Precisely. And neuroscience actually shows that we do process information on both conscious and unconscious levels.
So deliberately shifting between the two can actually lead to breakthroughs.
Absolutely.
It's like cross-training for your brain. I like that, yeah. So we're cultivating negative capability, allowing for serendipity, alternating our mental states through the current. What's next?
Yeah, what's next?
The fourth strategy is altering your perspective.
Okay.
We tend to get stuck in these mental ruts, seeing things from this one limited point of view.
Right. We all have our biases, our assumptions.
And they can hold us back.
Yeah.
Greene says we got to force ourselves to consider alternative explanations,
Uh-huh.
seek out opposing viewpoints, and embrace those anomalies.
Things that don't fit the pattern.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Marie Curie, for example, her focus on the anomalous behavior of those certain elements led to the discovery of radioactivity, a total paradigm shift.
Wow.
And the Google founders, they targeted what they saw as trivial flaws in the existing search engines. That's what led to their revolutionary algorithm.
So it's about challenging assumptions, looking for those cracks in conventional wisdom.
Absolutely.
Even for a genius, there's always more to learn, new ways to see things.
100%. It's about staying intellectually humble, always seeking those new perspectives.
So we're cultivating negative capability, allowing for serendipity, alternating our mental states, altering our perspective.
Right.
What's the fifth and final strategy for this mental flexibility?
The fifth strategy is called reversal.
Reversal. What does that entail?
It's about mentally flipping the script
Okay.
on common assumptions
Mm-hmm.
to unlock new possibilities.
So challenging the status quo, thinking outside the box. I like it.
Exactly. And Thomas Edison is a great example here. Edison was obsessed with failure. He viewed it as essential feedback for all his experiments.
He didn't see it as a setback, but as an opportunity to learn to refine his idea.
Exactly. That's the power of reversal. Turn those negative assumptions on their head and use them to your advantage. It's about challenging the way things should be and exploring what could be if we just change our perspective.
This whole creative active phase is fascinating. It's like taking all that raw potential from the apprenticeship and turning it into a superpower.
It is.
But where does this journey ultimately lead us? What's the final destination?
Well, the final phase, the culmination of this journey, is mastery itself.
Ah, yes, that state of intuitive understanding and like seemingly effortless skill we were talking about at the beginning, the stuff legends are made of.
Precisely. Years of immersion crystallize into this intuitive feel for the whole of your field.
It's like your brain becomes this interconnected ecosystem, mirroring the complexity of whatever it is you're studying.
Yeah.
But it's more than just a lot of knowledge.
Oh, way more. Greene emphasizes the importance of a fingertip feel, not just intellectual understanding. You develop this deep, embodied knowledge that goes beyond words, beyond concepts.
It becomes almost instinctual, like a master chef who can just feel when a dish is perfectly seasoned.
Exactly. And of course, time is a huge factor. The 10,000 plus hours rule is a starting point, but the quality of that time matters immensely.
So it's not just about clocking in the hours.
No.
It's about how you use that time. It reminds me of that saying, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Exactly. And Greene uses Jane Goodall as an example here.
Okay.
Her deep immersion in chimp society allowed her to just intuitively grasp those social structures, those complex relationships. She went way beyond just, detached observation.
She wasn't just studying them. She was living among them, experiencing their world firsthand.
Exactly. He also talks about Erwin Rommel.
Okay.
His feel for battlefield dynamics. It came from relentless study, internalizing these vast amounts of information.
So it's about developing that deep understanding through years of dedicated effort.
Yeah.
But there's a common misconception about mastery that Greene addresses, right?
Yeah.
That it's about perfectly predicting the future.
Yes. Greene clarifies that it's not about flawless foresight.
Yeah.
It's about sensing a wider range of possibilities and their likely outcomes.
It's like having a more advanced internal model of your field, allowing you to anticipate those potential challenges or opportunities more effectively.
Precisely. And finally, he highlights the danger of what he calls the false self. that persona we create for public consumption.
Ah, yeah, the pressure to maintain a certain image, especially when you're achieving a high level of success, it can be so overwhelming.
It's a real danger. Public attention can distract from the real work of mastery. Because mastery is an ongoing process, it's not a destination.
It's about staying grounded, staying
Yeah.
focused on that pursuit of knowledge and understanding, even when the spotlight's shining.
Exactly. Mastery is a journey, it's not a trophy.
All right, so we've explored the three phases of mastery: the apprenticeship, the creative active, and mastery itself.
Yeah.
It's a journey of transformation. It's a process of deliberately directing your learning, your development.
Right.
This is all incredibly insightful, but let's get practical here. What are some actionable strategies for attaining mastery? Like, what can people actually do?
Greene outlines 7 key strategies. And these aren't just abstract concepts, they're actionable steps you can take to cultivate this master's mindset.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's dive into those. What's the first strategy?
The first one, and arguably the most important, is connecting to your life's task.
That sounds profound. Break it down for me.
It's about aligning your work with this deep inner drive,
Okay,
something that feels purposeful, meaningful to you.
right.
It's finding that intersection of your passions and your skills, where your work feels like a calling, not just a job.
I see. So when you're truly passionate about something, the effort feels less like work and more like a pursuit of something that's deeply fulfilling.
Exactly.
Like those times you get so engrossed in a project you lose track of time.
That's it. That's the kind of energy and focus that fuels mastery.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the second strategy?
The second strategy is embracing intensity.
Intensity. Sensing a theme here.
You're right. Mastery requires this almost obsessive level of focus, not just casual interest. It's about bringing laser-like focus to your work, immersing yourself in those details and pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone.
I can see how that level of dedication would be essential for achieving true mastery.
It is. Greene argues that without that burning desire, that relentless pursuit of excellence, true mastery remains elusive.
All right, so we're connecting to our life's task. We're embracing intensity.
Yeah.
What's next?
The third strategy is developing what Greene calls seeing more skills.
Seeing more.
Intriguing.
It's about cultivating this ability to spot those crucial details, the patterns that other people miss.
Okay.
You develop this keen eye for observation.
Right.
You notice those subtle cues and anomalies that can lead to breakthroughs.
So it's like developing a sixth sense for your field.
It exactly.
An ability to see beyond the surface.
Yes.
And understand those underlying dynamics at play. It's about training your mind to see the world through the lens of your chosen field. Noticing those subtle details, those connections that others overlook.
Okay, so we're connecting to our life's task, we're embracing intensity, we're developing those seeing more skills.
Yep.
What's the fourth strategy?
The fourth strategy builds on something we talked about earlier, mastering the fingertip feel.
Ah, yes, that deep embodied knowledge that comes from years of practice and immersion.
Exactly. This is about going beyond intellectual understanding to this more intuitive, instinctual grasp of your field.
It's like that moment when you're playing an instrument and your fingers just seem to know where to go without even thinking about it.
Yes.
Or when an athlete just reacts instinctively to make this amazing play.
Perfect analogies. It's about developing that same level of effortless skill and intuition in whatever it is you're pursuing.
So we're connecting to our life's task, embracing intensity, developing seeing more skills, mastering that fingertip feel. What's the fifth strategy?
This one might sound a little unusual, finding your way to primal forms of intelligence.
Primal forms of intelligence. What does that even mean?
It's about reconnecting with those pre-verbal ways of thinking.
Oh, interesting.
Thinking without words.
So tapping into that deeper, more intuitive part of our brains that often gets overshadowed by language and logical thinking.
Exactly. Using images, spatial reasoning, intuition to complement all that logic and language.
I can see how that could be so powerful, especially for someone who's already very analytical. It's like adding a whole new dimension to their thinking.
Precisely. Greene argues that these primal forms of intelligence can be incredibly powerful tools for creative problem solving and innovation.
Okay, so we're connecting to our life's task, embracing intensity, developing seeing more skills, mastering the fingertip feel, reconnecting with those primal forms of intelligence.
Yep.
What's the sixth strategy?
The sixth strategy is cultivating high-end skills.
High-end skills. What makes them different from regular skills?
It's about pushing beyond basic competency, constantly seeking those new challenges, those new areas for growth, becoming a master of the nuances, those subtle details that separate the good from the truly great.
So it's about striving for excellence,
Yes.
never settling for good enough, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Exactly. Greene argues that mastery is this ongoing process,
Right.
lifelong pursuit of knowledge and skill development.
Always learning, always growing, always pushing those limits.
That's the spirit.
All right, so we're connecting to our life's task. We're embracing intensity. We're developing, seeing more skills, mastering the fingertip feel, reconnecting with those primal forms of intelligence, cultivating high-end skills. What's the seventh and final strategy?
The seventh strategy is synthesizing all forms of knowledge.
Synthesizing. Explain.
It's about breaking down those artificial barriers between disciplines,
Okay.
finding connections, transferring insights across different fields.
So it's about becoming like a polymath, drawing inspiration and knowledge from diverse sources.
Exactly. Greene argues that the most innovative thinkers, they're the ones who can see those connections between seemingly unrelated fields. They draw inspiration from those unexpected sources.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that knowledge is interconnected, that breakthroughs often happen at the intersection of different disciplines.
Precisely. Cultivate a curious and open mind. Constantly seek new knowledge, new perspectives, and use all that to fuel your creative endeavors.
These 7 strategies paint a pretty clear picture of how to cultivate that master's mindset. It's a journey of self-discovery, pushing beyond our limitations and striving for that excellence in everything we do.
It's a powerful framework for growth, especially for someone with a lot of potential.
But there's one thing I'm curious about.
Okay.
Greene talks a lot about finding your life task, that inner drive that fuels mastery. What stands out to you about this concept?
What I find fascinating is how this connects back to our biological wiring. Remember how we talked about our primate ancestors, their remarkable visual systems, their social intelligence?
Yes.
Well, those traits honed over millions of years of evolution, they're still with us today.
Yeah.
They're part of our genetic heritage. And I think they play a key role in guiding us towards our life's task.
I'm listening. How so?
Well, our visual systems, they're wired to seek out patterns,
Right.
to make sense of the world around us.
Right.
And our social intelligence, it allows us to navigate these complex social dynamics, connect with others, collaborate on these shared goals.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
I think these innate abilities, these primal forms of intelligence, they're constantly guiding us towards those areas where we can make the most meaningful contributions.
It's like our biology is whispering to us, nudging us towards those pursuits that align with our unique talents and passions.
Exactly. And when we listen to those whispers, when we connect to our life's task, that's when the journey towards mastery truly begins.
That's a profound thought. It's like our very biology is guiding us towards our highest potential. But what happens when we ignore those whispers? When we choose paths that don't align with our life's task? What are the consequences of not heeding that inner call?
That's a great question, and one that we'll explore further in the next part of our deep dive. So we were just talking about those whispers from our biology kind of nudging us towards our life's task, right?
Right.
But what happens when we ignore them? When we choose a path that doesn't quite resonate with that deep inner drive?
Right. What are the consequences of not connecting with that life's task? Does Greene address that?
He does. He suggests that even if we achieve success on a misaligned path, even competence, something will always feel a little off.
Like we're going through the motions, but not truly engaged. I've definitely felt that before, working on projects that didn't really excite me.
Yeah. Exactly. There's this sense of emptiness, this lack of fulfillment, regardless of external validation. Greene uses this analogy of a plant trying to grow in the wrong soil. It might survive, but it will never truly thrive.
Okay, yeah, that's a vivid image. So it's not just about achieving success. It's about finding that alignment, that sense of purpose that makes the journey itself fulfilling, especially for someone with a lot of potential. I imagine choosing the wrong path could feel even worse.
Right. It's like having all the ingredients for an amazing dish, but using the wrong recipe. And Greene says this misalignment can show up in different ways, Chronic dissatisfaction, restlessness, even feeling trapped in a life that doesn't reflect who you really are.
That sounds pretty miserable. So what do we do if we find ourselves in that situation? Is there a way back?
Greene emphasizes introspection, taking the time to really understand ourselves, our
Yeah.
values, our passions. It's like taking inventory of your internal resources and figuring out how to use them best.
So taking a step back, reassessing our path, and seeing if it truly aligns with our inner compass. It's like recalibrating your navigation system.
Exactly. But he acknowledges this can be challenging. It takes honesty, courage, and a willingness to potentially make some pretty big changes.
I bet. It's not it's not easy to admit we might be on the wrong path, especially if we've invested a lot in it already. There's that sunk cost fallacy thing too.
Definitely. But Greene argues that staying on a misaligned path can lead to much deeper regret in the long run. It's like staying on a highway heading in the wrong direction. The further you go, the harder it is to turn around.
Yeah, makes sense. Better to face the discomfort now and adjust course than live with that nagging feeling of unfulfilled potential. Especially if you're someone who's capable of achieving great things. But what if you've already spent years on the quote unquote wrong path? Is it ever too late to change course?
It's never too late. Greene gives examples of people who found their life's task later in life, sometimes after years of pursuing things that weren't truly fulfilling.
That's reassuring. So even if you've taken some detours, there's still hope of finding that alignment. But how do you actually do that? It sounds like a pretty daunting task.
It's about paying attention to the clues, both internal and external. Greene talks about those moments of heightened power we discussed earlier, those times when we feel most alive and engaged.
Right, those flow states where we lose track of time and feel completely absorbed in what we're doing.
Those are often really strong indicators of activities that align with our life's task. But it's not always this sudden epiphany. Sometimes it's a subtle feeling, a sense of resonance.
So it's about being attuned to those feelings, paying attention to what truly energizes us. But what about those times when we feel lost, uncertain, unsure of which way to go?
Greene acknowledges those feelings are totally normal, especially when you're searching for your life's task. He says to embrace that uncertainty, view it as an opportunity for growth.
Instead of fearing the unknown, we lean into it. We use it as fuel for exploration.
Exactly. He encourages experimentation, trying new things, stepping outside those comfort zones, and just seeing what sparks your interest.
It's like treating life as a giant laboratory, running experiments to see what works. But that takes a certain level of courage, doesn't it?
It does, but remember, this is about mastery. And that requires pushing beyond those self-imposed limitations. It's about cultivating a mindset of curiosity and approaching life as an adventure.
That's a powerful way to frame it. And if you're someone who's naturally gifted, that experimentation could lead to some really exciting discoveries.
Absolutely. And Greene reminds us that the journey to our life's task isn't always linear. There will be detours, setbacks, even false starts, but those are all valuable learning experiences.
So it's not about avoiding those challenges. It's about embracing them as part of the process, like a scientist who sees failed experiments as data points, not failures.
Precisely. It's about constantly refining our understanding of ourselves and our path.
This whole conversation is making me think about the challenges inherent in this pursuit of mastery. Greene doesn't sugarcoat things. He's honest about how demanding this journey can be.
He is, and he emphasizes that one of the biggest challenges is dealing with resistance, both internal and external.
Internal resistance. You mean like self-doubt, fear of failure, those voices that tell us we're not good enough?
Mm.
I think everyone struggles with those at some point, even the most talented people.
Absolutely. Everyone has those inner critics. And then there's that external resistance. People who doubt our abilities, they don't understand our vision, or they simply don't want us to succeed.
Whew. Yeah, I've dealt with my fair share of those people too. It can be incredibly draining to deal with those forces of resistance. How does Greene suggest we navigate those challenges?
He talks about developing mental toughness, the ability to persevere in the face of adversity, to stay focused on your goals even when things get really tough.
That sounds like a crucial skill for anyone, but especially for someone who's striving for mastery. It's easy to get discouraged when things get hard, but true masters, they find a way to to push through those obstacles.
Exactly. And Greene emphasizes this isn't about being some kind of emotionless robot. It's about acknowledging those difficult emotions, but not letting them control you.
So it's about developing a kind of emotional resilience and ability to bounce back from those setbacks and keep moving forward.
Exactly. He talks about the importance of having a strong why. A clear understanding of your purpose and your motivations. When you have a strong sense of why you're doing something, it's much easier to weather the storms.
That makes sense. It's like having a guiding star that helps you stay on course, even when the winds are blowing you in different directions.
That's a great way to put it. And Greene reminds us that developing mental toughness is a process. It requires discipline, resilience, and a willingness to push through that discomfort.
So it's not about becoming some kind of superhuman overnight. It's about building that resilience gradually through conscious effort.
Exactly. It's about training your mind like you would train your body, pushing yourself a little bit further each time.
Okay, I'm starting to understand how this all ties together. But what about dealing with those external forces of resistance, those people who try to hold us back? How do we deal with those energy vampires?
Green's advice here is both pragmatic and strategic. He talks about choosing your battles wisely, recognizing when to confront that resistance head on and when to ignore it and just keep moving forward.
So it's not always about fighting every battle. Sometimes it's about conserving your energy for the ones that really matter.
Exactly. He
Yeah.
uses the analogy of a martial artist who knows when to deflect an attack and when to strike back. It's about being being strategic, using your energy wisely.
That's a helpful way to think about it. So
Yeah.
it's not about being passive or letting people walk all over you. It's about being smart and selective about where you invest your energy.
Exactly. And Greene emphasizes that social intelligence plays a key role here.
Oh, there it is again. That ability to read people, to read situations, to understand the motivations and weaknesses of others.
Exactly. It's about recognizing those power dynamics we talked about earlier and learning how to navigate them effectively.
So it's about being aware of the social landscape, understanding the unspoken rules of the game, and using that knowledge to your advantage.
Precisely. And Greene argues that in the pursuit of mastery, it's often necessary to be strategic in our interactions with others, especially those who might try to undermine our efforts. He's not advocating for manipulation or deceit, but rather for a wise and discerning approach to social interactions.
It makes sense if you're someone who's truly exceptional, you're likely to encounter resistance from people who feel threatened by your abilities.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that not everyone who resists us is doing so out of malice. Sometimes it's just fear, insecurity, or a lack of understanding.
That's a good point. It's about being compassionate, but also firm in our boundaries.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we can't control the actions of others, but we can control our own reactions.
I'm starting to realize that this pursuit of mastery is not for the faint of heart. It's a challenging journey that requires dedication, resilience, and a willingness to face down our fears and insecurities. But Green makes it clear that it's a journey worth taking.
Absolutely. And he reminds us that the path to mastery is not always glamorous. It often involves long hours, tedious tasks, and setbacks that can be incredibly discouraging. But it's in those moments, those moments of struggle and adversity that we build character, resilience, and true strength.
So it's not all about those aha moments and flashes of brilliance. It's about the grit, the determination, the willingness to keep going even when things get tough.
Exactly. Green emphasizes that mastery is built on a foundation of hard work, discipline, and attention to detail. He talks about the importance of finding satisfaction in the process itself, not just the end result.
It's about embracing the journey, the ups and downs, the challenges and the triumphs. It's about finding joy in the pursuit of excellence, even when it's hard.
Precisely. And he reminds us that embracing those less glamorous aspects of the journey is actually essential for developing true mastery. It's through those challenges that we build resilience, we hone our skills, and we develop that deep intuitive understanding of our field.
It's like a blacksmith forging a sword, right? The heat and the hammering are what give the blade its strength and its beauty.
That's a powerful metaphor, and it highlights the transformative nature of this journey towards mastery.
This whole conversation is making me think about the importance of mentorship in this pursuit of mastery.
Mhm.
Greene talks a lot about the mentor-apprentice relationship and how it can accelerate the learning process.
Yeah. He does. He sees mentorship as crucial for the journey. Having a mentor, someone who has already achieved a high level of skill and understanding in your chosen field, they can provide invaluable guidance and support.
It's like having a Sherpa guide you up Mount Everest, right?
Yeah.
They know the terrain, they've faced the challenges, and they can help you navigate the dangers.
Exactly. And Greene emphasizes that a good mentor can do more than just, point you in the right direction. They can help you accelerate your learning, provide feedback, encouragement, and even connections to other experts in your field.
It's like having a personal coach, cheerleader, and networker all rolled into one. But he also talks about the importance of choosing the right mentor, right? Not just anyone will do.
Absolutely. He emphasizes that not all mentors are created equal. A good mentor is someone who not only possesses deep knowledge and skills, but is also invested in your success. They're willing to challenge you, push you beyond your comfort zone.
So it's about finding someone who's not afraid to give you tough love,
Yeah.
who's willing to call you out when you're not living up to your potential.
Exactly. And they need to be a good fit for your personality and learning style. Some people thrive under a more hands-on approach, while others need more space to explore and experiment.
It's about finding that synergy, that
Yeah.
connection that allows for mutual growth and development.
Exactly. And Greene talks about how the mentor-apprentice relationship can evolve over time. It might start with a traditional dynamic where the mentor imparts knowledge and the apprentice absorbs it.
But it doesn't end there, right?
It doesn't. As the apprentice progresses, the relationship can become more collaborative. The apprentice begins to challenge the mentor's ideas and even contribute their own unique perspectives.
That sounds like a really healthy dynamic, one that allows for growth and development on both sides.
It is. And Greene even talks about how at some point the apprentice might need to transcend the mentor to move beyond their teachings and forge their own path.
That makes sense. True mastery is about developing your own unique voice, your own style, your own way of seeing the world. And if you're someone who's already highly talented, that process of transcending the mentor could lead to some truly groundbreaking work.
Absolutely. But Greene emphasizes that this process can be difficult, both emotionally and intellectually.
I can imagine there's probably a lot of loyalty and gratitude towards a mentor who's played a key role in your development.
There is. But Greene argues it's essential for true mastery to eventually move beyond the mentor's shadow and forge your own path.
So it's about acknowledging the mentor's influence
Right.
while also recognizing that your journey is ultimately your own.
Exactly. And this doesn't mean disrespecting the mentor or dismissing their teachings. It's about integrating those teachings into your own unique style and using them as a foundation for your own creative explorations.
It's like building a house. You might use the same basic materials and techniques as the architect who designed it, but ultimately you're creating something unique and personal.
That's a great analogy. And it highlights the importance of both tradition and innovation in the pursuit of mastery.
This whole conversation is making me realize that this pursuit of mastery is not a solitary endeavor. It's about finding mentors, building relationships with other experts in your field, and even learning from those who challenge your ideas.
You're right. Greene emphasizes that social intelligence isn't just about navigating those power dynamics we talked about earlier. It's also about building a supportive community, surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and help you grow.
It's like building a mastermind group, a team of brilliant minds who can support each other on the path to mastery.
Exactly. And Greene argues that this sense of community is especially important when we encounter setbacks, which are inevitable in the pursuit of mastery.
Because those are the times when we're most vulnerable to self-doubt, to discouragement,
Yeah.
when those inner critics start to get really loud.
Exactly. Having a supportive community, people who understand the challenges we're facing and can offer encouragement and perspective, it can make all the difference in those moments.
It's like having a safety net, a group of people who can catch you when you fall and help you get back on your feet.
That's a great way to put it. And Greene reminds us that this pursuit of mastery is not just about achieving personal success. It's about making a meaningful contribution to the world,
Hmm.
about using your talents and skills to make a positive impact.
That's a powerful thought. It's about recognizing that our pursuit of mastery is not just about ourselves. It's about something larger, something that connects us to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And Greene argues that this sense of purpose, this drive to make a meaningful contribution can be a powerful source of motivation and inspiration, especially when we encounter those challenges and setbacks along the way.
It's like having a guiding light, a north star that helps you stay on course even when the journey gets tough.
That's a beautiful way to describe it.
Yeah.
And Greene reminds us that the sense of purpose can be found in all fields of endeavor, from the arts and sciences to business and social activism. It's about finding that unique contribution you're meant to make and pursuing it with passion, dedication, and a deep commitment to excellence.
Yeah. So it's about finding that sweet spot where our passions intersect with the needs of the world,
Mhm.
where our pursuit of mastery becomes a force for positive change. And if you're someone who's already gifted, that impact could be even greater. You have the potential to make a real difference in the world.
Absolutely. And Greene encourages us to embrace that responsibility, to use our gifts and talents to make the world a better place.
This whole conversation is making me realize that this pursuit of mastery is not just about achieving a certain level of skill or knowledge. It's about cultivating a certain way of being in the world, a mindset of continuous learning, growth, and contribution. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves, both for our own fulfillment and for the betterment of the world around us.
You're absolutely right. Greene argues that mastery is not a destination, but a journey, a lifelong pursuit of excellence that transforms not just our skills, but also our character and our way of seeing the world.
It's about becoming more than just skilled or knowledgeable. It's
Yeah.
about becoming more compassionate, more resilient, more connected to something greater than ourselves.
Exactly. And Greene reminds us that this journey is accessible to anyone who's willing to embrace the challenge, to dedicate the time and effort, and to never give up on the pursuit of their full potential.
This has been an incredibly insightful conversation.
Yeah.
We've covered so much ground from the three phases of mastery to the challenges and rewards of this journey, and we've talked about how those challenges and rewards might be amplified for someone who's naturally gifted.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling there's even more to explore, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've only just, scratched the surface of Greene's ideas. There's so much more to unpack, so many fascinating examples and insights to delve into.
So where do we go from here? What's the next step in our deep dive into the concept of mastery?
Well, I think it's time to dive into the specific strategies that Greene outlines for cultivating a master's mindset. We've talked about the importance of connecting to your life's task, but how do we actually go about finding that path? How do we navigate those moments of uncertainty, of self-doubt, and how do we develop those seeing more skills and master that fingertip feel?
Those are all great questions. I'm eager to hear what Green has to say about those crucial elements of the journey towards mastery.
So before the break, we were starting to unpack these specific strategies for cultivating a master's mindset. We talked
Yeah.
about connecting to your life's task, that driving purpose that fuels the whole journey. But the question is, how do we actually find that path?
Right. It's one thing to say find your passion, but it's another thing to actually do it. Especially if you're someone who's gifted in many areas, it can be tough to know which direction to choose,
Yeah.
right? Green has some concrete advice here, right?
He does. One strategy that really stands out is paying attention to those early childhood fascinations.
Oh, okay.
Those things that just captivated us as kids before the world told us what we should be interested in.
I see where you're going with this. It's like tapping into that innate curiosity, that pure joy of discovery we had as kids. I remember being obsessed with building things, constantly tinkering, taking things apart to see how they worked.
That's a perfect example. Greene argues that those early fascinations often hold clues to deeper inclinations, talents, interests. that can guide us towards our life's task. They're like seeds planted in our subconscious, just waiting for the right conditions to sprout.
So it's about remembering those passions, exploring them with a fresh perspective, and seeing if they hold any clues to what truly motivates us as adults, especially for someone who's naturally gifted. Revisiting those early passions with a more mature mind could lead to some really amazing insights.
Exactly. It's like looking at those childhood interests through a new lens, one that's informed by experience, by knowledge.
I love that. It's like going on an archaeological dig into your own past, unearthing those buried treasures that might point you towards your true calling.
Hmm.
But what about those times when it's not so clear, when those early passions have faded or don't seem relevant anymore? What does Greene suggest then?
Greene also emphasizes paying attention to those activities that bring us a sense of heightened power.
Those moments when we feel most alive, most engaged, most in our element.
Precisely. He says to notice the activities that energize us, that make us feel focused and capable. Those moments when we lose track of time and feel completely absorbed in what we're doing.
It's like finding that flow state, right, where everything just clicks and we're operating at our peak.
Exactly. Greene argues that these moments of heightened power, they're often clues to our life's task, those activities that align with our unique talents and passions.
So it's about paying attention to those moments when we feel most fully ourselves, when we're in the zone. But for someone who's capable of achieving a high level of focus in many areas, that might not be so easy to pinpoint, right?
Yeah.
How do you differentiate between something that's just interesting and something that's truly aligned with your life's task?
That's a great question. And Greene acknowledges that this process of discernment can be challenging. He suggests paying attention not only to the activity itself, but also to the feelings that it evokes. What are the emotions that arise when you're engaged in that activity? Is it excitement, joy, a sense of purpose, a deep sense of satisfaction, or is it more like fleeting interest, a sense of accomplishment without true fulfillment?
So it's about being really honest with yourself about how those activities make you feel. It's not just about what you're good at. It's about what truly resonates with you on a deeper level. But what about those times when we feel lost, uncertain, unsure of what direction to take? What if we're drawing a blank even after all this introspection?
Greene acknowledges those feelings are completely normal, especially when you're trying to find your life's task. He suggests embracing that uncertainty, viewing it as an opportunity for exploration and growth.
Instead of resisting those feelings of uncertainty, we lean into them. We use them as a catalyst for discovery.
Exactly. He encourages us to experiment, try new things, step outside those comfort zones, and just see what sparks our interest. It's about being open to the possibility that our life's task might be something we haven't even considered yet.
That's exciting and a bit daunting at the same time,
Yeah.
especially for someone who might feel pressured to live up to their potential. That open-ended exploration could feel really overwhelming. Any advice for navigating that?
Greene suggests setting clear intentions for those explorations, creating a framework for your experimentation.
Yeah.
He talks about the importance of having a beginner's mind, approaching those new experiences with curiosity and a willingness to learn.
So it's not about aimlessly wandering around. It's about having a direction, a purpose for those explorations. It's about being intentional with our time and energy.
Exactly. And it's about giving yourself permission to fail, to make mistakes, and to learn from those experiences.
That's a good reminder, especially for someone who's used to succeeding. It can be hard to embrace those moments of failure. But Greene makes it clear that those failures are essential stepping stones on the path to mastery.
They are. And they often lead to the most valuable insights and breakthroughs.
This whole conversation is reminding me of that quote by Nelson Mandela. There's no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living.
That's a perfect quote for this conversation. And it speaks to the importance of embracing our full potential, of not settling for a life that is less than what we are capable of creating.
Okay, so we've talked about finding our life's task,
Hmm.
and that's a huge piece of the puzzle. But once we've found that path, how do we how do we cultivate the intensity that's needed for a mastery?
Greene suggests tapping into those primal instincts we talked about earlier,
Okay.
those pre-verbal ways of thinking that are so powerful.
Interesting. I'm not sure I follow. How do primal instincts relate to intensity?
Think about our primal instincts. They're driven by survival,
Right.
by the need to secure resources, to protect ourselves from threats, to ensure the continuation of our species.
Okay. Yeah, I see where you're going with this. Those are pretty powerful motivators.
Incredibly powerful, and they fuel this intense focus, determination, and resilience.
So it's about harnessing those powerful instincts
Yeah.
and channeling them into our pursuit of mastery. But how do we actually do that? It's not like we can just flip a switch and turn on our primal instincts.
Right. It's not about becoming some kind of wild animal. It's about recognizing the power of those instincts and finding ways to align them with our conscious goals.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where our rational mind and our primal instincts are working together in harmony.
Exactly. Greene suggests that by tapping into those primal drives, we can unlock a level of intensity and commitment that would be difficult to achieve through willpower alone.
It's like aligning our goals with our deepest biological imperatives.
Exactly. He reminds us that we're not just rational beings. We're also driven by these powerful emotions and instincts, and those instincts can be harnessed to fuel our creative endeavors.
That's a powerful idea. It's like we have this hidden reservoir of energy and motivation within us, and we just need to find the key to unlock it.
Exactly. And once you tap into that power, it can be truly transformative.
So we're connecting to our primal instincts. We're channeling that raw power into our work. What about the other strategies? How do we develop those seeing more skills that are so essential for mastery?
Greene emphasizes developing a deep understanding of the underlying principles that govern your chosen field.
Okay.
Those fundamental laws, the patterns that shape the way things work.
So it's not just about accumulating facts and information. It's about understanding the deeper structure, the underlying framework of your field.
Exactly. He argues that by mastering those principles, you develop a framework for understanding the world,
Mm.
for seeing connections and patterns that other people might miss.
It's like having a mental model of how things work, which allows you to see the bigger picture and make more informed decisions. But for someone who's intellectually gifted, isn't that something that comes naturally? Don't they already have that ability to see patterns, see connections?
To some extent, yes. But Greene argues that even the most brilliant minds can benefit from consciously developing this skill. He suggests studying the work of masters in your field, those individuals who've demonstrated a deep understanding of those principles and have used that knowledge to create groundbreaking work.
It's like learning from the best, observing how they see the world and applying those insights to your own work.
Yeah.
Mentorship is crucial here, right?
Absolutely, finding mentors who can guide you, who can point you in the right direction and help you develop your own understanding of those fundamental principles is essential. They can help you see the forest for the trees.
Okay, so we're studying the work of masters. We're seeking out mentors who can guide us. What else can we do to develop those seeing more skills?
Greene suggests practicing the art of deep observation.
Like paying attention to the details, noticing those subtle nuances that other people might overlook.
Precisely. He encourages us to become keen observers of the world around us,
Right.
to notice the patterns, the anomalies, the connections that others might miss.
It's like becoming a detective,
Yes.
constantly searching for clues and piecing together the puzzle.
Exactly. And he suggests developing a habit of questioning everything, challenging assumptions, always looking for deeper meaning and understanding.
It's about cultivating a curious and inquisitive mind, a mind that's always seeking to learn and grow.
Exactly. And Greene argues that these seeing more skills, they're not just valuable for our work.
Hmm.
They can enrich our lives in countless ways. They allow us to see the world with fresh eyes, appreciate the beauty and the complexity of the world around us, and connect with others on a deeper level.
So it's not just about becoming more skilled in our chosen field. It's about becoming more engaged and more alive in the world.
Precisely. And Greene argues that this heightened awareness, this ability to see more, it's a key element in the pursuit of mastery.
Okay, so we've talked about finding our life's tasks. We've talked about cultivating intensity, developing, seeing more skills. What about mastering that fingertip feel? How do we go beyond intellectual understanding to that deep embodied knowledge that characterizes true mastery?
Greene emphasizes the importance of practice,
Okay.
but not just any kind of practice. He talks about the power of deliberate practice,
Right.
the kind of focused, intentional practice designed to push us beyond our comfort zone and develop those high-end skills that characterize true mastery.
So it's not about mindlessly repeating motions. It's about challenging ourselves, seeking feedback, and constantly refining our technique.
Exactly. He suggests breaking down complex skills into smaller, more manageable chunks, focusing on one element at a time and practicing with intense focus and attention to detail.
It's like mastering the scales before attempting a concerto.
Perfect analogy. Greene argues that by mastering those fundamental building blocks, we develop a foundation for effortless skill, for intuitive understanding. It's like building a house brick by brick. Each brick might seem insignificant on its own, but together they create this solid and lasting structure.
So it's about building those neural pathways, those automatic responses that allow us to operate at a high level without conscious thought. But for someone who's naturally gifted, isn't that something that comes more easily? Don't they already have an advantage in terms of learning and skill development?
They might, but Greene argues that even the most gifted individuals can benefit from deliberate practice. It's about pushing beyond those natural talents, honing those
Yeah.
skills to a razor sharp edge.
So it's about maximizing that potential, taking those natural abilities and transforming them into true mastery.
Exactly. And Greene suggests incorporating feedback into our practice,
Yeah.
seeking out those mentors who can provide guidance, and using technology to track our progress, identify those areas for improvement.
It's like having a coach who can analyze your technique,
Yeah.
identify your weaknesses, and help you develop this personalized training plan.
Exactly. And Greene reminds us that mastering that fingertip feel, it's not just about achieving technical proficiency. It's about developing a deep connection to our work, a sense of flow of enjoyment that makes the process itself rewarding.
So it's not just about becoming more and more skilled. It's about falling in love with the process, finding joy in the pursuit of excellence. This has been an incredible journey exploring the concept of mastery in such depth. What's the key takeaway for our listeners today?
I think the most important message is that mastery isn't this mystical quality reserved for a select few. It's a process. It's a journey that anyone can undertake if they're willing to dedicate the time, the effort, and the passion. And for those who are naturally gifted, this journey might be even more rewarding as they have the potential to reach truly extraordinary heights.
It's about finding your life's task, cultivating intensity, developing those seeing more skills,
Yeah.
mastering the fingertip feel, connecting to those primal forms of intelligence, and synthesizing all forms of knowledge. It's about pushing beyond our perceived limitations and embracing the transformative power of this journey.
Beautifully said. And it's about embracing those challenges, those setbacks, those less glamorous aspects of the journey. It's about finding joy in the process, knowing that true mastery is not a destination, but a lifelong pursuit of excellence.
Greene's book is a treasure trove of insights and inspiration. I highly encourage our listeners to explore it further and to start applying these principles to their own lives. What's one question our listeners can ask themselves today to start them on that journey?
What specific skill or area of knowledge have you always felt drawn to, even if you've pushed it aside or told yourself it's not practical? How could you begin to approach it with the mindset of an apprentice seeking mastery?
That's a great question. And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into mastery. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for excellence.